Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before we dive into today's episode, which is all things Vanderpump Rules, Beverly Hills, people being sued, demoted, fired, tattoos, divorces, it's a hot mess, and I am so here for it. So, before we dive in, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. So, with that, let's go. So let's dive into our first story, which is all about Vanderpump Rules Raquel / Rachel Leviss suing Ariana Madix and Tom Sandoval for revenge, P word, revenge corn, eavesdropping, and invasion of privacy. So we have the details of the lawsuit, and then we're also going to talk about how Rachel is saying that Ariana knew about her affair with Tom, and it was all for a storyline and to save her spot on the show. Now, we're going to weigh in on whether you believe her or not, and I'll let you know what I think, but I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. Do you believe Rachel when she says that Ariana knew about the affair and she's just pretending to be shocked for a storyline? Put it down below. So this is from Radar Online. It says Ariana Madix knew about Sandoval and plot saved her from chopping block. Raquel Leviss charges an explosive lawsuit. We'll be going interchangeably between Raquel and Rachel. She's the same person, different personalities. It is what it is. So Ariana Madix was allegedly aware of her boyfriend Tom Sandoval's affair months before the news of Sandoval broke, and so was the rest of the Vanderpump Rules cast, at least according to Raquel Leviss. RadarOnline.com obtained Leviss's explosive lawsuit filed in Los Angeles on Thursday against Madix and Sandoval. In the documents, she claimed Madix knew about the affair as early as fall of 2023 and desperately needed the plot twist because she was allegedly on the chopping block. Leviss said that she began sleeping with Ariana boyfriends of 9 years on or about August 10th of 2022, adding their affair continued as Sandoval's relationship with Madix further deteriorated. The ex-Vanderpump Rules star alleged that although purportedly secret, the affair was in fact well known to many cast members and suspected by others, and she and Sandoval were not particularly discreet. She claimed Ariana was tuned into their sexual relationship with Sandoval. Leviss is informed and believes, and on such information and belief alleges, that Madix knew about it as early as the fall of 2022. She charged in the lawsuit, citing that in December of 2022, Madix scolded Raquel and Tom for being handsy in public, admonishing them to save the story for season 11. Leviss claimed at the time that Vanderpump Rules was facing an uncertain future as the show had grown stale. All right, I'm going to stop there and we'll get more into the article. Raquel, Rachel, stop lying. In my personal opinion, I do not think Ariana actually knew that Rachel and Tom Sandoval were having a sexual affair and that she told them to, quote, save it for season 11. I think all of that is hindsight information that has come to light. Like, for example, in hindsight, yes, the Sandoval is what saved Vanderpump Rules. But do I think that Ariana knew about the affair? No. I don't think anybody really, quote, knew about the affair. I think that some people were aware. This is what I think. I think that Sheena and Lala and people like that had their suspicions and that they didn't have confirmation, but they all felt that something weird was going on season 9, season 10-ish. And I believe them when they said, we tried to talk to Ariana about it, and Ariana was living in her delusional la la land with Tom, and she sort of dismissed them the way she always does. I think that is all true. I don't think any of them are great enough actors to have pretended all of this. I really don't, So I think that Rachel's lawsuit, first, let me say this. I think her lawsuit in general is bogus and frivolous and needs to be dismissed and tossed all the way out. This is just another example of celebrities or reality stars or people with privilege, whether that privilege is money or fame or whatever you want to call it, that use the legal system just to get more money and more fame and continue their 15 minutes. Because there are people out there who genuinely suffer from revenge porn, where they're doing something intimate with somebody that they love and trust, and then that person betrays them and they spread that online or on the internet or social media or with their friends. And that truly is what it is. But this doesn't seem to be that. This seems to be, because I do believe the story of how Ariana found out. The phone fell, she saw it, she flipped out, all of that stuff. I don't know how that is revenge porn. That's just me. I don't know. And as we already know, Rachel will go to court with somebody having fully on lied the same way she did to Sheena. So she's fully prepared to lie and fabricate evidence. We debunked the whole black eye scar on her face situation before. So to me, girl, bye. Like you're lying and you're reaching with all of this. All of this is a big, 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 big reach. Okay. All right, so let's keep going. It says Madix in particular was reportedly on the chopping block, the docs read. In the absence of a sticky new storyline, there's every reason to believe Vanderpump Rules would have been canceled. Okay, that's fine. But that's the thing. Things can be correlated but not related. Is there a correlation between Vanderpump Rules being boring and about to be canceled, and then all of a sudden Sandoval happens and it saves the show? Yes, that's a correlation. But it doesn't mean that they were actually causational, meaning that they caused Sandoval in order to save Vanderpump Rules. Those are two different things. Leviss said Madix was aware of the pressures of Sandoval and both were heavily invested financially and reputationally in the show remaining on the air. Adding, by extension, if the relationship was already on the rocks and if Sandoval was intent on brazenly carrying out an illicit affair with another cast member, they had every incentive to leverage these salacious threads into the storyline Vanderpump Rules so desperately needed. Another reason why this doesn't make sense is because this didn't actually happen on camera. The whole big bombshell that happened when cameras were down. That's why cameras had to pick back up. So if they're saying, oh, they were all in on it and they were saving it for a storyline for the show, then how come Sandoval broke when they were off season, when they weren't actually shooting for the show? Again, doesn't make any sense. Dun, 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 dun. As Radar Online reported, Leviss sued her ex-friend and former lover for revenge porn, eavesdropping, and invasion of privacy on Thursday. She alleged Sandoval recorded the illicit videos of her that Madix found on his phone in March of 2023 without her knowledge or consent, and Ariana distributed them and or showed them to others. Leviss also expressed concern there might be more footage of her, claiming that given Sandoval's apparent practice of secretly recording their video calls, Leviss has every reason to assume there are additional illicit videos and or photographs of her that she has not yet seen. This is the thing. The only grace I will give Rachel is if it is true that Tom recorded you without your consent, then sue him. Go after him in like civil court, small claims court, girl bye. Sue him for eavesdropping or whatever the term is for what he did to you. But to bring in Bravo and NBC and Ariana and all of these others, because she's suing like a conglomerate of people. She's suing Tom Sandoval, Ariana, and Doe's 1 through 50, which means like et al, like everybody else involved. That could be Sheena, that could be Lala, that could be NBC, that could be Shed Media or Evolution Media, the production people. This is my thing. Nobody asked you to bust it open for Tom Sandoval. You did all of that on your own accord. Nobody asked you to sit up in Ariana's face and play like you're her friend when the entire time you're busting it open for her man. Whether they are in a bad relationship or not does not negate the fact that you busted open for your alleged friend's man. Doesn't negate it, okay? The only person, in my personal opinion, you should have an issue with is Tom recording you without your consent. That is it. Ariana picking up her boyfriend's phone and seeing you busting it open for him and her being shocked by that. Maybe she sent it to Sheena, maybe she didn't, but Ariana herself has said she didn't even watch the full thing. She called Sheena and told Sheena what happened. So this is my thing. Even if Ariana sent it to Sheena, and I'm not saying she did because she never said she did. I'm not saying she did. I understand that in the moment. There's no intent. And you need intent for a revenge porn. That's why it's called revenge, because baked into revenge is the intent to get back at, the intent to hurt. I haven't seen this video on TMZ. I haven't seen this video on Fans Only. I haven't seen this video anywhere. John Q. Public has not been privy to this alleged video. So are you suing her because in the moment she saw it and she's either sent it to Sheena or told Sheena that was it? You also sent your little cease and desist and Lala was like, send it to Daryl and it hadn't been spread around. So I'm confused as to your whole distribution aspect of this. Who and where was it distributed to? We haven't seen it. It's not on any, you know what I mean? It's not on anybody's Patreon. So what are you talking about, girl? What are you talking about? Have several seats. And this is the thing, Rachel. You went to this alleged mental health facility. And again, I'm not being disrespectful about mental health by any means. But you came out claiming like you were so changed and different. And to me, you're doing the same weird, bizarre, thirsty nonsense that you were doing ever since you were exposed as the weirdo that you are when you were busting it open for Sandoval. You got up on Bethany's podcast and you single-handedly ruined Bethany's brand. If I was Bethany Frankel, I would be really pissed because you single-handedly ruined her brand. Bethany is now canceling her Rewives podcast. That's a bust. Bethany can't ever work with Bravo again because of the whole lawsuit that she did with the Reality Reckoning on your behalf. So not only did you bust it open for Sandoval while you were cosplaying as Ariana's friend, but you single-handedly took down Bethany B. Because I don't know what Bethany's doing these days other than YouTube and TikTok. Shout out to that, though. I mean, she's fine. She has millions and millions and millions of dollars. She's fine. Bethany is fine. But what I'm saying is, Rachel, you need to shut up and sit down and have several seats. If you want to do your podcast, do your podcast. Everybody's got to eat. That's fine. But to me, it's these lawsuits have gotten out of hand. The Reality Reckoning lawsuit, Brandy's lawsuit, Leah McSweeney's lawsuit, now Rachel's lawsuit, Nini's lawsuit was a bust. Like, it's gotten to be too much. Lawsuits now are kind of punchlines. And it makes me sick for people in this country that truly have been victimized. And the only way I see Rachel as a victim is that Tom filmed her without her permission. That is wrong on every single level. Other than that, I don't see Rachel as a victim in any way, shape, or form. I'm not talking about the extremes of online bullying that has happened. That's obviously wrong. It should never go to extremes. I'm talking about in reality, world. She's not a victim by any means. And it just makes me sick. In the same way she used the legal system to go against Sheena with the whole bogus, frivolous, restraining order. That was a waste of time. It just pisses me off because there are truly people in this world who really have been victims of revenge porn, who really have been victims of abuse and violence and all of these things who don't have the money, who don't have the resources, who don't have the support, who don't have the fame, that feels like no one would believe them and they don't have the resources to fight for themselves. And it pisses me off that people like this think that filing lawsuits it's like going to Starbucks and picking up a latte because you didn't get your way, because you're jealous other people are making money off of this scandal, because Bravo didn't give you the money you thought you wanted. And that's another thing that's bogus. You said yourself on the Bethany podcast that you wanted to come back to the show, but they weren't giving you as much money as you wanted. So if you're this big old victim and they did you so dirty and all this revenge porn and eavesdropping, why did you want to come back on the show? I know for me, if I'm victimized by by someone or something, I'm not going back. I'm not going back. So yeah, and again, I don't believe you. I don't believe you, Rachel. Just because you put it in a lawsuit doesn't make it the truth. I think you're lying. Do I think the show was stale? Yes. Do I think Ariana could have been on the chopping block? Sure. But do I think that the entire cast knew about this affair and so did Ariana and they were all planning it for season 11? No. Because this is also another thing. Ariana's lawyers, if you're listening, take some notes. I'm going to tell you right now how we know Rachel is lying through her teeth. So when everything happened, and by everything I mean, Sheena and Rachel were in New York. They had just did a press tour for Vanderpump Rules. They had just gotten done with Watch What Happens Live, right? Ariana and Tom and the rest of the crew are in LA. Tom and the most extras, they're doing their little concert or whatever at Pump or wherever the hell it was, one of LVP's restaurants. That's when the phone falls. That's when she picks it up. And that's when everything happens. That's when she calls Sheena. And then Sheena says that is when Rachel confirms to Sheena that she has been having a sexual affair with Tom Sandoval. And this is when Sheena, according to Rachel, allegedly punched her in the face. Riddle me this, Rachel. Why would Sheena punch you in the face if she had already known that you were having an affair with Tom off camera while you guys are not filming? So it wasn't like a moment for the TV show. Why would Ariana call Sheena to tell her she just found a video of you busting it open for her man if she already knew it was happening off camera, off season, if it was this entire conspiracy to wait until season 11 so that they could have a storyline? That makes zero sense. So based on how your own past legal moves, based on your own past words, you have just yourself debunked your entire case. Because it doesn't make any sense. You can't have it both ways. You can't say Sheena punched me because I told her I was sleeping with Tom, but in the same time say everybody knew and we were all waiting for season 11. So why would she punch you in your face off camera, off season, if everybody knew? Why? And especially if you're saying Ariana said, oh, don't be so handsy in public. We're waiting for season 11 for a storyline. Then why would seeing you busting it open for Tom on his phone trigger Ariana to the point where she is fighting with him, calling production and calling Sheena? Those two scenarios cannot coexist. They cannot coexist. So based on your own version of events, based on your own past lawsuits, you're still lying. Do I think she mushed you or pushed you? Sure. I'm not mad at it. I don't condone it. I'm not saying I condone violence, but I'm also a human being and I understand it. I understand the inclination to knock somebody out who did what you did to her friend and to her. I get the inclination. I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying there shouldn't be consequences, but I understand the inclination. We're all human beings. If we're being honest, we all understand it. Why would she react that way if everybody knew? And why would she react that way off season, off camera? Why would Ariana react that way off season, off camera? Doesn't make any sense. Ariana lawyers, if you need somebody to help you with your strategy, give me a call because Rachel's lawsuit makes no sense. None. But I want to know what you guys think. As always, put it down below. Do you think that Rachel, again, is just being a pick-me person? She has nothing else, she has nothing else to do. Maybe her podcast isn't popping the way she thought it would. Do you think her lawsuit should be tossed out? I do. Or do you think no, maybe she does have a case. Maybe it was revenge porn and eavesdropping and everything. Let me know what you guys think. I personally think it should be tossed out. I think if she's going to go after anybody, I think she should go after Tom. If it is true that he actually, because again, I don't believe anything she says. He is a liar, but she's also a very scary, deep liar too. So if it is true that he recorded her without her consent, then just go against him privately and say, hey, listen, this is what happened. Let's find a civil way to mediate this and figure out what's what. Other than that, Rachel, go away. Have several seats. But I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below and be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's move on to story number 2, which is Erica Jane losing it all. So Erica Jane loses court battle and